So let's get into it. Okay, so first we're going to start with male. We are going to make, actually I want to just mark the top and the bottom because I don't want to lose sight of my sizing. Okay, so up here we'll have a head. Actually, I want to make the head a bit bigger. So I'm just going to draw a circle and something like that. Yeah, if you want to do that, you can, but it's not necessary. And then for the neck, you can literally just draw it straight down. And that's that. Now for the rib cage, I like doing this sort of shape. Sort of like an egg shape. Okay, that rib cage looks humongous. Absolutely humongous. All right. There we go. Much better. Or maybe that's the same. That's fine. Okay. And then the pelvis would be right below it. I usually do that as like a boxy shape, sort of like that. And usually I'll have that, but this will be from front view. You know what? Actually, let me put that back. Yeah. This will be from front view. Right. And then the shoulders, or the clavicle, this part, yeah, it goes up. Doesn't come down. It's not a straight line like that. It would probably look like that if you're looking from below, but from a position like this, it's like that, like a little bow. All right, and then if you want, you can put circles for just an indication of the shoulder. You can do that as well. Just circles. And then for the legs, really it's just lines and lines. And notice how I made this one curve in. So one curves out, and one curves in. And you could just put triangles for the feet. And that's basically that. So now I'm gonna go over it with black. Yeah, just outline that. That's the head. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. And now the neck muscles, they come into the clavicle, to this pit right here. They come in, not all the way in. Right. And then the shoulder, or the traps, not like that. They go down at an angle. There's actually sort of an S curve there. And then the chest, oh, I should have done the chest line. Whatever, the chest line is basically, it's curved like that. So most people, or it's very easy to think from a front-on view that if that's the middle of the chest, that it's going straight up and down. But it's actually not, because if you look at it from a side angle, like let's say this is that. Oh, the neck also goes back. Ah, okay. Let's go ahead and fix that. I don't know why it's not turning. Oh my gosh. Is it turning? Yes, okay. Right, where was I? So the neck muscle, actually notice how it goes back like so. It doesn't go down like that. This would be wrong. That's correct. And this right here that I just did is that. Right. But getting on to what I was actually doing, the chest. So let's say this is the rib cage, right? Which tilts forward. That's actually essentially what I was saying. So the shoulder goes like that. Now the chest line, this right here, it's not straight down. That's an illusion. That's very easy. It's understandable to think, but the chest actually is at an angle. It leans forward or back, depending on how you want to view it. But yeah, it's tilting. It's not straight down. If it was straight down, it would look like that. And that's not what you're doing. If anything, that's when it's angled back. It looking straight down is an angle back. Yeah. So just something to keep in mind. Go straight down, and it's very much like a pentagon. So you follow the clavicle line and you make that pentagon. I'm gonna erase that. So actually the shoulder should be drawn first. They come down to about halfway and then they actually cut through the chest. They cut through. They may not cut through like that all the time, but they can. Okay. And the bicep are actually in this view. Yeah, the bicep's going to come down like that and insert itself into the forearm right there. The tricep is going to come out here. Same thing. Bicep goes into the forearm. Tricep, notice how the tricep starts higher than the bicep. And then we have the back of it right here. That, okay. So that's the elbow right there. And now we have this interesting shape. So first off, before we even do that, we're gonna outline our wrist shape. Our wrist is gonna be facing down at an angle. So like, that would be it. And then if we were to finish it, it would be something like that. All right, so that's the view that we're doing. So that's why the wrist is like that. That's why I represented it like that. All right, so now that we do that, we have this shape that wraps around the forearm. And then you make a curve out for that forearm. And then you can go ahead and do the wrist. And then you do the same thing on the other side. It starts from like all the way up here and it wraps around the forearm. You come out with the elbow. The elbow goes below the bicep insertion. Straight down and a long bend there. So essentially for the forearm, it's essentially an S curve on the, I guess, outer side. And then a big old C curve on the inside. Right. So that's what that is. Let's get in there. just gonna block out the hands. All right, so now we are on to the torso. So really simple. So we'll just make a straight line down and then angle it. Straight line down, angle it. You can make the traps here. And then for the abs, you can make it straight down. And just do little zigzags. That's what I do for it. Just do a little zigzag and indicate the end of it. That's what we have so far. Okay, let's take this out. Now for the legs are interesting. So here are our kneecaps. They're like little diamonds. And now what we're gonna do with the leg, the outer bend is like, the outer curve is stretched. And then the inner curve, it's sort of like an S. And then like let's say our knee's right there. See how it comes in like that and then it goes out like that? Yeah, that's the shape that we're going for. So my arms are actually a little bit in my way, but it's fine. So we're gonna go, and then we have that outer apex right there. And then we have that S curve right there. You can make it all the way there. Right, and then we do the same thing for the other side. The outer side right there. And then you make that S curve. Then for the calves are interesting because there is an offset. So it's not straight down like it's not straight down like that. It's like it shifts to the left and it actually curves outward. So it's like if there was an oval here, the calves would go around there. So that would be like the inside, and you could do another one to keep you on track. And then basically you just draw the calf muscles as a bump like that. And then you draw this one higher. And that's it. Same thing here. You essentially go straight down. It's very slight. And then you start higher. And it's actually that was not very slight. Slight. And then this one goes higher. And then you could just do triangles for the feet. Nothing crazy. Oh. I guess, yeah, that shape could help a little bit. Yeah. So you could see how the inner thigh follows that. And now let's go ahead and turn off the background layer. Right, and then there you go. I can take this out. And there goes your male body. Okay, so now onto the female body. I'm gonna go ahead and move this over here. Bring this back up. Let's erase this or move it out. I said move it out. Am I on the right layer? I am not. That would make sense. All right. We're gonna go ahead and sketch out the female body. So for the female body, I generally make it a bit shorter than the male body, because typically that's how it is. All right, and then you start off the same. So we have a circle. The head shape it really varies from person to person. So I essentially just make like a shovel shape. All right. And then the neck is typically slimmer. Now I do the same egg shape for the rib cage. It's just, if anything, I make it a little bit slimmer. Oh yeah, and that's what I make a diamond shape to come up for the bottom of that rib cage. And now for women, usually they have bigger hips. So I'll do that. I feel like these hips are gonna be ginormous, but we'll see. Okay. And then again, for the collarbone, it angles or curves like so. It's not a straight line. You can make little circles. I'll put it down like that. Usually like at the bottom of the rib cage, that's where the elbow would be. And then by the crotch area is where the hands go. Okay, and now onto the legs. I'm gonna make them come in a little bit. Again, remember that curve, that inward curve for the calf. Same thing. Okay, now you can draw like a contour line for the shape of the rib cage. And now we can move on to outlining or filling it in. So I'm just gonna go in here. This you already know. If anything, you would make this a little less defined. Because typically female bodies have softer surfaces. Okay, now for the shoulder, it's essentially the same thing. Most of it is the same because they're still both human bodies. Let's put in the collarbone. And it also has, so the shoulder also comes in like so, just like how it does here. Just maybe not as crazy. And then for the breasts, I would come in like that. And then because it's resting on a surface like that curves upwards, it's not just gonna be that. That looks like implants. I mean, if that's the look you're going for, then hey, you're more than welcome to do that. But you want it to look a little more realistic. You want it to follow the curve. I mean, they're not gonna go all the way up there. I more so did that so you could see the curvature of it. But that's essentially what it did because it's laying on a surface that goes like that. Then you do the same thing for the other side. So you kind of make it like it's about falling off because it kind of is. Like it's not falling off her body, but it's falling off the rib cage. Okay, those things are huge, but we're gonna rock with it. Actually, we're gonna take it down a little bit. Okay, that was a little bit of overkill. Okay, so we're still gonna follow the same general rule. There you go. And now for the belly button, I just make a line and then a little teardrop in the middle like that. Little smaller teardrop. Yes, for the belly button. And then for the rib cage, you come in, follow the rib cage, which you already have, and then you go out. I'll just come down and connect the belly. It's really just a long, or you know what you call that shape, a long, like a foot shape. That's what I do for stomachs, like that. And then the hips, they still come out a little bit, and then they come in. And again, remember that inward curve, just like how there was over here. Yeah, same. You can actually go ahead and do that. Again, oh, I probably should make the actual knees. Okay, and again, with the inward curve, comes out and then in, and that one's slider. And there you go. Just make triangles for the feet. Okay, she has some thick thighs. But if you wanted to make them slimmer, well, you could just do that. And I still made them thick. Yeah, whenever I draw on a tablet, I tend to make things thicker. But okay. So her arms are facing outward. Coming down here for the arm. There's a bump on the outer forearm, so I'm keeping that in mind. And then you just have a general shape for the hands. Same thing over here. There's a bump. And then it comes in. And there you have it. That is a male and female body. Okay. Thanks for watching.